Welcome to another episode of Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell, episode number 67. Let's get into it. Special time, 7:07 Eastern Standard Time. Usually I do this at 8:30, but I'm going to do a little earlier. So let's recap the games that came on last week and week number one of college football. Definitely up to the hype. And some very interesting games, starting with number one Texas versus number three Ohio State, with Ohio State put the clamps down. Arch Manning, who has a lot of hype coming into the season, and it didn't play well, obviously, because the defense. He had only 170 yards passing as they won 14-7. Favor Ohio State. That's the thing that stood out in that game was just the defense. The defense did their job, and they was able to get after the quarterback, and they was able to make him look average. Arch Manning. It's a tough spot, to have a guy like that come onto the team his first game on a road like that and try to win a game against the defending champions. And he was able to not do that, not do well at that, because the defense of Ohio State was just too vulnerable, too tough to deal with and figure out. You know what I'm saying? This game, not a great game to watch. No, it was very competitive, but it was more like Ohio State was still in control. They was in control this whole game. They never was in doubt losing because of the fact that their defense was just so good. 170 yards passing for Arch Manning. No one touchdown pass. That was when the score was 14-0, but it was all about Ohio State. And the defense, they did enough on offense, and they did enough on defense to win that game. So that's all need to be said about that. So that's one of the main games that came out last week. Then you look at what about Florida State? Man, Florida State upsetting Alabama. That was a shocker, 31-17. What's going on with Alabama? Alabama's not used to losing these kind of games, especially a season opener. It's just not a good look for them. Losing to an unranked Florida State team that was 2-10 the previous season, and plus they came to this game with 23 straight season openers in a row, a streak of 23 straight wins. So it shows that it's tough act to follow when it comes to Nick Saban and what he did with that program and it's just not the same program. So, and that's the thing about great programs. They go through their peaks and valleys. They don't always stay on top all the time. Alabama was a top program for years, more than 15 plus years. During the Saban era, I think once you lose a great coach like that, you're not going to be the same. And I think you see the chinks in the armor with this program. They're not the same program that they used to be. You see it. And give credit to Florida State. Their new quarterback, Tom Castellanos, did his thing. He was a college. He had 78 yards rushing, a touchdown, did his thing. And there was a big upset because they were 13.5 point underdogs. They were two touchdown underdogs. And they got a new offensive coordinator in Gus Malzahn from Auburn. And they definitely ran the ball. They made a premium to run the football. And they definitely did that at a high level against the the Alabama defense. Um, that's the thing that stood out in this game is the defense. They had 230 yards rushing, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. They only averaged 89.9 yards a year ago. And also with this loss, killing the board, the coach of Alabama, is now 6-4 against unranked teams at Alabama, while Saban was 124-4. So again, Nick Saban's a special coach, and this guy's just definitely not up for the job. And though he did a great job at Washington, he's just not living up to the standard of Alabama football. So that was a big time win for Florida State. As Florida State back, who knows? Time will tell, but we'll see what happens. So that was a big game. That was huge. That stood out last week. Clemson and LSU. LSU give them credit. They went to Clemson and won 17-10. Defensive battle. The better team won. Gus Nussmeier did his thing, did what he had to do. Um, threw for 232 yards, 28 of 38, a touchdown. Ran the ball solidly. Receivers were good. Anderson had 99 yards receiving. Did a great job against the Clemson offense. Held them to 10 points. So that was a big win for them in the battle of top 10 teams. Big time win for them. Yeah, Tennessee impressive win against Syracuse, 45-26. South Carolina beat Virginia Tech, 24-11. On Monday night, you had obviously the debut of Bill Belichick, his team, and they didn't do so well against TCU. They lost 48-14. I think was the score. Again, they're gonna learn a lot as a program to get it together. All the new players and Bill Belichick, coaching in college professional is totally different from National Football League. So he definitely didn't get off to the best start, but they got to a bad start. They're gonna get a lot of attention. Obviously, they were on ESPN and stuff like that. But they got to a bad start, losing 48-14 at home this past Monday night. Um, Now a great way to start his coaching debut for Bill Belichick, how great he is. But give credit to University of TCU. They got down 7-0. Then they came back and just dominated, including a pick six in the first half by Bud Clark, a 75-yard touchdown run by Kavorian Barnes. They just dominated the game. They did what they had to do to win, and that's what you gotta do. Go into the hostile environment and get the job done. And again, North Carolina got to a great start, but it's his old saying, now you start, it's how you finish. And they was able to come back and just dominate the rest of the game. Despite trailing 7-0. That don't mean that game was over. You got played 4 quarters, and you showed the dominance of CCU and how they dominated the rest of that game, and they won the game. So give them credit. They say best for last. Notre Dame, Miami, that may have been the best game of the week. Big time win for the University of Miami and beating Notre Dame by a score of 27-24. Miami had great control of this game. But it's a battle between two top 10 teams from new over rivalry. It's not the same rivalry as it used to be because they rarely play each other like they used to on a regular basis. But it was great to see those two teams, the gold helmet of Notre Dame and a U helmet on that field at the same time. That's what college football is all about, the old school style of things, how great that rivalry was. Whoever won that game back then was able to win that championship between 1987 and 1989. Well, that's where that game was about at that time. Whoever won that game won the national championship for that 3 year stretch from 87 to 89 and 80s. But again, the rivalry's still not the same. Majority of the players that played in that game on Monday, Sunday night, wasn't even born. to see those games. So they don't understand really about that great rivalry that it was back then. It was great to see those two teams on the field, and the Hurricanes handled their business. They did enough. They almost lost the game, and they had a 10-point lead, 14-point lead. It was up 21-7, 24-14. But give credit to the Fighting Irish Notre Dame. They was able to bounce back and tie it, and Miami was able to pull it out. Great catch by CJ Jandrews. Great catch by CJ Jandrews. Great catch by Andy Crab. Looked like he was going to be intercepted, but he was able to make the catch anyway. And he was able to make the catch and to get the job done and win the game with a field goal by Carter Davis from 47 yards, and was able to pull it out and hold off the Irish 27-24. And it was a big win for them to start the season. Is Miami back? Absolutely not. They got to win the ACC, goes to the playoffs, win that championship. Those three things got to happen though for the Miami to be truly back. That's always been the narrative for years, is that you back. But no, they're not back because they win one game. They have to go, undefeated in this conference. They got to win the ACC. They got to get to the playoffs. They got to get to the World National Championship game. Win that championship. Those factors got to factor in whether they're back. But no, they're not back. But it was a big win for Miami as a program because they hadn't beaten a top 10 team in nearly 8 years. And they was able to beat Notre Dame, and it was a big win for them because they had an 8-game losing streak against top 10 opponents. So that was a big win for them. The debut of quarterback Carson Beck, who has a lot of experience coming from Georgia, played a solid game, threw for 220 yards or something like that. And they move up to number 5 in the country. So with this win, so see what happens with how they handle being in the top 5, and see what happens with that. For the Irish, they became the 4th team that was ranked in the top 8 of the 8 preseason AP top 25 to lose last weekend, including number 1 Texas, number 4 Clemson, number 8 Alabama. So he now lost 7 consecutive road games against the Hurricanes, having won since 1977. So that's a storyline on that. So that's the storyline on that. Carson Beck did 205 yards, not 220, 205 yards, couple of touchdowns. And that Malachi Tony definitely played well at the receiver position, true freshman. So see how that goes. But defensively, they played well. Ruben Bain was able to get that interception, get a sack, half a sack. Mesidor had a 1.5 sack, so they did their job, and that's what it's about. So see what happens. But it's one game. If you're a Hurricane fan, you just gotta keep moving on to the next one. All right, let's get to week 2. Not many great slated games this week. To really get pumped up about. The only game that stands out is the Michigan Oklahoma game, a game that is we rarely see in college football. Those two teams match up, but they're going to be playing this coming Saturday at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night. Number 15 Michigan against Oklahoma, number 18 team in the country. So these two teams not used to meeting each other, but these two blue bloods right here. So it's great football right here. If you like it, Bryce Underwood doing his thing at the quarterback position against Oklahoma, led by John Mateer. So see what happens with that. Interesting game, but the slate of games are not that great this weekend. When you talk about the college football landscape of games, that's the only game that's interesting in the top 25. I mean, there's no other ranked opponent versus ranked opponent except for that. So there's not going to be that much drama. Yes, you have sometimes when you think that it's not going to be any drama when you have that much great games in the top 25. You're going to have upsets, but I don't see nobody getting upset. Texas, Penn State, I don't see them getting upset. Illinois, Florida State, Iowa State, I don't see that happen. I know they played the arch rival Iowa, but I don't see no upsets here on the slate of games. I just don't see Oklahoma State upsetting Oregon. I don't see that happening. So it's not a very uneventful week 2 in college football. The only game to keep your eyes on is Michigan, Oklahoma. That's basically it. So that's all that matters for that. So I think Michigan beat Oklahoma. I go with Michigan. I think Miami will handle their business against Bethune-Cookman. South Carolina beat South Carolina State. I got Florida should beat South Florida. And Ole Miss should beat Kentucky. Those are my picks right there. Predictions. Right, so that's basically it for that. Let's get into what's next on the menu. We got the NFL preview and prediction for week one. That's coming up. We got the game tonight between obviously the Philadelphia Eagles open their season against the Dallas Cowboys. No Market Parsons. See how they handle that. I think the Eagles gonna win tonight. They're not gonna let Dallas Cowboys come in and ruin their fun coordination time. So I'm going with Eagles winning by 2 touchdowns. I just think the loss of Michael Parsons, that's a tough loss. The defense is not gonna be that great. Um, I know Clark, the guy that they got in exchange for him as a Pro Bowler. I think his name Kenny Clark, 2-time Pro Bowler. But I just think that you lose a guy like that, lose his pass rushing ability. Who's gonna rush the passer? We're gonna see what happens. But I like the Eagles tonight. Um, look at the games on Sunday. Interesting games. Houston and the Rams. That's a very interesting game. Those two teams, I think, are gonna really do big things. I think they're going to the conference championship. I think Houston's going to the conference championship in the AFC, and I think the Rams are going to go to the conference championship in NFC. So you got KC, the Chiefs, and the Chargers tomorrow. I'll go with the Chiefs. They're going to play with a purpose. I'm going with the Chiefs. So I'm going with the Eagles, the Chiefs. Then on Sunday, I got to go with Cincinnati. They got to get up to a good start. I'm going with Cincinnati over Cleveland. I got to go with that. Pittsburgh will beat the Jets. And I got Seattle beating San Francisco. I think Seattle's going to be a very interesting team this year. I think they're going to go over to the playoffs. But also you got Detroit, Green Bay. That's a good game. You got Buffalo and Baltimore. Good game, great game to watch. So we got some interesting games. The first Sunday National Football League to start off week one. All right, so that's it for that. Let's look into the on this day in sports history for September 4th. I'll go over everything that took place on this day, but just a few. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with 1906 on September 4th. The New York New York Highlanders, excuse me, beat the Boston Pilgrims 7-0, 1-0 for their Major League Baseball record, fifth consecutive doubleheader sweep. Future Hall of Famer in baseball pitchers like Christy Mathewson, Mordecai Brown faced each other for the final time in 1916 on September 4th after the 25 contest as Mathewson takes a 13-12 advantage with the Reds as a 10-8 winners over the Cubs. Then you have Sam Jones pitched no hitter for the Yankees in 1923 against the Philadelphia A's. That'd been 1923. 1941, New York Yankees clinched their third straight American League pennant, beating the Red Sox 6-3. That was the earliest at the time, was the date in baseball history to capture a pennant. 1981, the longest Major League Baseball game at the time at Fenway Park, ended in 20 innings as Seattle Mariners beat the Red Sox of Boston 8-7. Gary Carter, 1985, for the Mets, catcher hit 2 home runs in a 9-2 win in San Diego, tied the Major League Baseball record at the time of 5 home runs in 2 games. September the 4th, 1993, Jim Abbott, who was one-handed pitcher at the time, pitched a no-hitter against the Cleveland Indians, 4-0 at Yankee Stadium. Penn State University played its first football game in the Big Ten, being a member. They beat the Minnesota Golden Gophers 38-20. John Sackett threw 4 touchdown passes to Bobby Ingram. September 4th, 1994, quarterback of Miami Dolphins, Dan Marino, threw 5 touchdowns and The Dolphins win against the New England Patriots, 39-35 was the win. Set an NFL record with 18th game of 4 or more touchdown passes. 1994, September 4th, Tom Tupa scored the first 2-point conversion in NFL history, running a fake extra point against the Cleveland Browns in a 28-20 win at Cincinnati. New York Yankees beat the Chicago White Sox 11-6 to win their 100th game on the earliest date in Major League Baseball history. Best in 1906 Chicago Cubs, 254 Cleveland innings by 5 days. Then in the 1999 season, Major League Baseball, you had Cincinnati Reds setting a National League record with 9 home runs as they rout the Philadelphia Phillies 22-3. Finally was ended with this 2002. After blowing an 11-run lead to Kansas City, Scott Hatteberg's bottom of the ninth walk-off home run gave the Oakland A's a historic Major League Baseball victory, 12-11, as A's set an American League record 20-game winning streak. Also, last but not least, I'm gonna make it last with this one. 2002, Argentina put off one of the biggest upsets in basketball history. They beat the U.S. 87-80 in the second round of World Championships. That was the first U.S. loss in 59 games since sending NBA players to international competition, 1992. That's it, man. That's it for tonight. Be on the lookout for a brand new article. Currently, the new article that's currently on the website, you check that out, e52asports.com. Check out the latest article. Did a recap on the college football week 0 predictions, who I think was going to win the Super Bowl, and all sort of stuff that's in there. Check whatever it is that I got on there on e52asports.com, the latest article that I've written. So I'll be back next Thursday. It's the first episode in the month of September. Be back next Thursday for regular time at 8:30, around that time. Recap what took place in college football. Again, not that much going on. Just keep your eyes on just Michigan and Oklahoma. That's basically it. But week 1 of the NFL season is going to begin tonight. Recap that. Recap what took place on Sunday, as well as Monday between Chicago and Minnesota. So that's it, man. That's it for tonight. Again, check out the article on e52asports.com. Be back next week for episode number 68. So till then, talk to you next time, next Thursday night. Again, this episode is broadcasted on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So check that out. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. That's where these platforms are on for Elevation 52A Sports and Lifestyles for Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell, episode number 67. Till then, talk to you next Thursday.
Right on. 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 Right on.